Hello? Perfect, definitely. So this is the public comment portion of our meeting. Again, at all of our full CPC meetings, we do have public comment. Again, commissioners, excuse my back, so sorry. We do adhere to the step up and step back method of public comment, which means individuals, if you have a comment, if you have a question or a concern, please just silently raise your hand. I will usher you up to the microphone. You will have just about 2 minutes to speak. Again, we'd like to keep our comments short, respectful of other people's time, respectful of other people's experiences. Again, we are all coming from different life experiences, so we need to be exceptionally mindful of that. Again, we want this to be a space where people feel free to speak, so we would like to have individuals speak at most 2 times, just to make sure that everyone in here is able to speak and to be able to have their voices heard. So at this moment, I'd like to open public comment. If you have a public comment, question, concern, suggestion, definitely come up to the microphone. I will usher you up. If you have questions that cannot be answered currently, like right now, always feel free to email us at info@clecpc.org. That's where you'll get the most efficient and accurate answer for your question, especially because at this time, we don't want to spend time researching things for you right now. We want to be able to do it in one fell swoop accurately and efficiently. So, public comment is now open.
My name is Mitzi Wagner, and I live on the near west side on West 38th between Clinton and Detroit. And I have 2 questions. The first one, in reference to, for example, the January 23rd Cleveland Public Library full commission meeting, what does the staff do to publicize that in order to have people come who live, well, relatively close to that location? That's question 1. And question 2 is, I wish you would outline what the staff has been doing and the commission before June of 2016 to get input from the community, because as we can see from the size of this group and the usual size of the groups that come to this meeting, the whole community doesn't come to this meeting. So you need to be asking other people, you know, who aren't here what they think. So I'd be kind of like to have a kind of summary, very quick summary of what you've been doing to do that. Thank you.
Okay, next. Oh, I'm so sorry. So that our so that our cameramen are able to see you all, please, if you are able to, stand.
My name is Pat Needham, and I asked some time ago how many police were, if the policemen all had 2 non-lethal weapons. The staff forwarded it to the city. Their answer was, well, they're only required to do that if they're certified on them. So I wrote back asking, well, how many officers are certified, trained and certified on non-lethal weapons? Is it really that hard to understand the point of the question? And I've never gotten an answer from the city.
Thank you.
My name is Gary Cantor. I'm reading from the CPC's homepage. Oh, I got out of order. Would the people representing the 2 parties please identify themselves? Would the representatives of the Department of Justice, representatives of the city, and the required member of the Community Relations Board please identify themselves? I see, so none of those people are here. It's very disappointing. I'm reading from the CPC's homepage. It says, join us. Our events are all-inclusive and open to the public. I received the invitation to the winter warm-up last month, and it said that this is by invitation only. It explained that it was for key stakeholders. I think that is contradictory to all-inclusive and open to the public. I received an email a couple of days later from the executive director. He says, you received the invitation to the CPC's winter warm-up on December 7th as the community engagement coordinator for the organization Black on Black Crime. If you no longer serve in this role, please let us know which organization you currently represent, as was not clear in your RSVP. The event is for partner organizations such as CDCs, nonprofits, and other city departments to reaffirm commitments to mutually engage the community in 2018 on issues related to the work of the CPC. This event is not open for citizen community participation at the individual level, nor will it have a public comment period. If you are coming as a representative of an organization with a constituency and mission, I'm going to step back. A constituency and mission that aligns with our goals, please let me know, and we will welcome your positive contributions at the event. So I read this as only those people who have a mission that aligns with the CPCs are welcome to participate.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Johnny Hammond. Excuse that I'm reading, but my throat has been bothering me. I've been fighting off a sickness, and this is just the easiest way to keep track of it now. In a past meeting, it was suggested that the failure of the disciplinary process is the result of poor investigations. The rate of discipline reversal or reduction is the result of inconsistency or unequal punishment for similar violations and excessive punishments. I myself was given a 10-day suspension for 33 policy or rule violations from an off-duty social media post. I had to sue based on my discipline, and my discipline and everything that resulted from it were reversed by a federal judge after a 3-year fight. In a summary judgment, the judge ruled that the discipline was solely based on constitutionally protected speech. My constitutional rights were violated, and nobody was disciplined for it, and nothing has changed. As one example, consider an off-duty officer that was intoxicated, involved in a hit-skip crash, arrested by another agency, pled guilty to traffic crimes, and only got a 6-day suspension. Any arbitrator or judge that sees this inequity in punishment has no choice but to reduce or reverse the punishments. The police disciplinary process is a microcosm of the current criminal justice system, and they share all the same flaws. The suggestion that the solution is tougher penalties will be just as successful as implementing the death penalty to reduce murder rates. The problem is not the penalty, but the lack of accountability in the process. Here is my suggestion. Whenever the city pays out money, the law department has to create a report detailing the reason they lost or the reason why they chose to pay. That report is reviewed by an independent group, and a determination is made as to who caused the loss: the officer, supervisor, training, policy, or someone within the disciplinary process. And then they are held accountable. The failure of the disciplinary process is more often from decisions made up the chain of command than the actions down, and those that are up the chain are rarely held accountable. They keep doing the same thing and expect different result, which is the definition of insanity. The settlement agreement and the CPC are the greatest chance we have at making the Cleveland police better. I want to thank the CPC for not falling for the smoke and mirrors tactics. The 65 police cars announcement to the media was made to make people believe that 65 new police cars were fully equipped and entering service. What in fact it meant was that 65 police cars and some equipment were purchased or budgeted for, but not immediately being put into service. I ask the CPC to continue to ask the tough questions. Lastly, we must focus forward because we cannot go back in time and change what has already happened. We can only ensure it does not happen again. There has not been a controversial incident in Cleveland recently because of small changes that have already occurred. Let's continue that process together in 2018. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, we do encourage questions, comments, concerns. We want to be able to have a well-rounded discussion amongst ourselves when we are answering your questions. We want to be able to understand community concerns from all aspects of community members, again, from all aspects and all walks of life. So please do not feel shy at all If you don't mind, we're just going to wait just a bit, just to see if anyone else has comment.
Thank you. I'm Gary Cantor. I'm going to read paragraph 249 of the consent decree. CDP will work with the unions to allow for sustained disciplinary findings to stay in an officer's record for 10 years. That's in the consent decree, 10 years. Paragraph 399, the parties agree to defend the provisions of this agreement, including in collective bargaining. The parties will notify each other of any court, union, or administrative challenge to this agreement. In the event that any provision of this agreement is challenged in any city or state court, the parties will seek removal to federal court. 10 years, both parties are obligated to these provisions. Here's a headline from a newspaper article, December 1. Cleveland Police Union's tentative contract may clash with city's court-enforced reform efforts. It says that the tentative contract says that any discipline imposed on an officer, whether it resulted from an OPS investigation or otherwise, would only stay in an officer's personnel file for 3 years. So who's negotiating for 3 years instead of 10? And is the monitor going to accept that? If not now, when? The next union negotiations may happen after the consent decree is over. 10 is 10. 10 is not 3.
Again, I encourage you all, as community members, there is a packet left on your chairs. We're going to continue printing these out at all of our meetings, but it's just a packet of abbreviations that the CPC utilizes. We heard at our last November meeting that community members sometimes can feel lost, and that is the absolute last thing that we want in our community meetings, especially during public comment, to be confused about the work that we are doing here because we are utilizing acronyms. So please definitely take that packet back with you. It'll be updated as need be. It'll be updated if individuals are like, what does that acronym mean? Definitely just shoot us an email. We will add it to our running list. Again, if you have any comments that you do not necessarily feel comfortable sharing in public, if you have any comments that you would rather email to us as CPC staff, again, info@clecpc.com or .org, we will definitely get back to you guys in a very timely fashion. Sure.
Excuse me for sitting down. My name is Patricia Carter. I represent the League of Women Voters of Greater Cleveland. My question is in reference to the bias-free policing. I saw the report that was on the PowerPoint presentation, but it did not specify how many police officers or the percentage of the police officers has been trained, and are they going by the manual, the training manual?
Just to clarify your question, to make sure that we got the right answer for you, do you mean the training manual for bias-free policing, or okie dokie for that particular area? If there are no objections by the co-chairs, I think that this public comment period can be closed.
Commissioners, co-chair, were there any questions that any of you would like to respond to tonight?
Yes.
Just two. One.
The green here button. The button.
Like that.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. First, Johnny, would you send us your statement, send it to Jason, he can get it to all the commissioners? Okay, I think that would be helpful. With regard to your question about bias-free training, first of all, the answer is I don't know, but the bias-free policy has not yet been finalized. We've been going back and forth with the police, and right now, it's in their court to respond to our latest proposals. So if there is any training going on, it would be with an old policy, not a new one. That's my understanding. Does anybody have a different understanding?
No, you are correct.
Okay. So the answer is that I don't know if there's any training going on, but I can tell you that there's no new bias-free policing, general police order in effect at the moment, at least not a new one anyway.
Yeah, just, I think right now, as far as Academy is concerned, what some of the deliverables or some of the things that we have worked on so far, as far as Academy is concerned, was use of force and also the CIT training. Those are the two, I think, that has been incorporated into our Academy at this point, for far as all officers being trained for at this point.
A question was asked about the staff and what we do to market and an outline of what the staff is doing. So when we are hosting multiple, we're trying to move around the city when we're hosting our full commission meetings. And so what we do is the staff, they can put it on the website, they send out a media blast on the Facebook, on Twitter. Now we're on YouTube. We have not been doing mailers, and I know that was asked in the past, but we began to do like mailing out flyers or phone calls and things like that. And for the future, that's our plan, because we now have a new budget and we can kind of incorporate some of those things, but in the past we have not. So we've taken, we note that you would like to have flyers mailed out, or at least some more targeted marketing in the areas where the actual meeting will take place. So we do plan to do that.
So sorry. Also to add, we also attend district community meetings per the consent decree. So we go to the district policing meetings. For the first 6 months, I went to all 5 districts, all 5 policing districts. That's where we are able to talk peer-to-peer about the work that we are doing at the CPC. I also attend various community meetings. And now that we have 2 community engagement coordinators, it's a lot easier for our efforts to be spread around the city. So we attend community meetings. We go to various nonprofit organizations. We go to various community development corporations, and we are able to speak with individuals peer-to-peer. So even though we are not able to have mailers almost every single night, there are meetings that I am attending, that Vrera is attending, that Bethany is attending, so that our efforts are actually pushed out into the greater Cleveland community.
One final comment. I know that in the last meeting there was questions or feedback about an event we were planning, the winter warm-up, and the event was canceled. So I'll explain what the event was so that we're very clear. Part of what we have to do as a CPC is to collaborate with other community stakeholders who already have a large constituency. We invite them, we want to talk to them so that we can share information about the CPC through their already targeted audience. And so to do that, we wanted to have an event to invite all of those organizations who already have this huge audience and they're able to share a voice in one room and talk about what they could do to help support the CPC and how we in turn can support their organizations. And by doing that, it's collaborative. We get to expand our awareness of what we're doing for the consent decree, and they get to expand the resources they already provide to the community. So the purpose of doing an event like that is to, number one, better provide services and outreach to community members through avenues that we alone as a CPC do not have. Every single organization does this. Every single entity does this, whether you have an executive directors meeting of all nonprofits who get together and discuss ways of collaborating on services that don't include their staff or don't include their constituency, because the purpose is to align whatever resources we might have to better engage the community. Our guests apologize if there are community members who feel that that's not a best practice, but we believe that it is. And moving forward, we will do another event such as that because we think it's important for us to expand our footprint to expand the work that we're doing for the CPC into the community. And there is no better way, no more cost-effective way, no better way of reaching people than to collaborate with already existing community organizations. So if you have a solution as to how we might do that and engage the community, like I said in my presentation, we welcome your ideas, we welcome your questions, and we welcome your feedback. And you can give that to us in person, via email, or via the website. Thank you.
Hello?
Okay, thank you. The next agenda item is the recap. And